Oh, hi there, guys. Welcome to Rohan's Corner. Sorry about that, you caught me in the middle of writing my Transformers cartoon script. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So, welcome to how to write your own Transformers cartoon script. Let's get into it, shall we? So, why did I decide to discuss this topic today? Well, based on the fantastic discussion that was had last week by the guys all about the Beast Wars cartoon, about the characters, about the plot, combined with the new Earthrise trailer we had this week, which showcased so many new concepts and ideas, and the announcement of the Bumblebee 2 movie, which is coming up next year or the year after, I thought I would revisit my Transformers script and talk about the fact that at the beginning of this year, around March time, when lockdown happened, I thought it was a good idea to try and do something different when I got bored, and so I started writing my own script. And so today I thought I would talk about how to put together your own Transformers cartoon, in essence. Considering we've had how many thousands of episodes now, how over the last 35 years of Transformers history, there's so much content out there already. Is there still any room left to be original? Is there still any room left to do something differently? And I think the answer is yes, because there does seem to be a consistent theme set by Hasbro and Takara, which they followed. So, what are the key elements for writing your own show? Well, the very first one is the overarching plot. And that is, what is the whole premise for your show? Now, for Transformers, majority of the time, it's always going to be Autobots versus Decepticons, but that's just a given. So what's the reason for this particular show? What makes it different from every other show? And so if we go back through Transformers history, we look at Generation 1, which is all about the power struggle for energy and the Autobots and Decepticons fighting for Energon. Beast Wars had the concept of the Maximals chasing the Predacons, who were Decepticon outlaws, onto a planet and fighting them there to capture them and take them back to Cybertron. Armada was all about the Minicons, the Autobots trying to free them, and the Decepticons trying to use them for their power. Transformers Prime was about defending the Earth ultimately, and then in the end about Unicron. And RD 2015 had a very clear plot. It was about capturing the escaped Decepticons that had crash landed on Earth, and almost a little bit Pokemon-like catch them all sort of thing. And then War for Cybertron, it's in the name, it's the struggle of the Autobots and the Decepticons in Cybertron and who has the power over the world. For my own plot, I decided to look at a long voyage for the Autobots, where they are going to be going somewhere far from Cybertron to help some fellow Autobots. They're going to get detoured along the way. They're actually going to get thrown off course into the unknown, uncharted space. And this brings me on to the second very key point about writing your own story, is you need to have very engaging, exciting characters. And Generation 1 showed us that with unique characters, with unique capabilities, who had great voice acting, and there were a lot of characters. We were thrown in the deep end, and you had to keep up, and it was entertaining. Other shows went the other way and they tried to do more focus on a smaller number of characters. So Transformers Prime is a great example of this, animated as well, where they started with a core of 3 or 4 characters on each side, developed those characters massively, and then eventually went into adding new characters further down the line in later seasons. So character development and design is very important. How those characters interact with one another. Will there be buddies between two characters like Bumblebee and Bulkhead have done over the years, and great combinations there. Knockout and Breakdown is another great example from Prime. Will there be rivalries between characters like in Armada, where Hotshot and Wheeljack were rivals for the reasons that were going on there? Or maybe you'd have someone like Jetfire and Skybite in the most recent Cyberverse series, who hated each other's guts, which was quite funny and quite cool. The next thing to consider is subplots. Now, if you think about it, you want your series to last for quite a while. You don't want it to be just one episode where the overarching plot is achieved in episode one. Otherwise, it's there and it's done and it's over, and you don't get any time to elaborate on your characters and take the show in any different way. So you need to have engaging subplots, and there have been some fantastic mini subplots throughout Transformers history. If we look at Generation 1, where they've had lots of two-parters and lots of integrated subplots, things like Megatron's Master Plan, things like Starscream's Brigade, where he went off and did his own thing, came back with his own army. And the same is true for many other series, Beast Wars at the end of Season 2, beginning of Season 3, with the whole Generation 1 element and the arc and so on and so forth. So you need to have engaging subplots to keep the viewers entertained as they're trying to go from A to B of the overarching plot, because otherwise they will just drop out in the middle. Next thing is all about character design and about what you want your unique characters to be able to look like and do and showcase. And so that's something to consider. And people like Vector Prime with the ability to go through time, or so many various different things. You need to consider abilities and then physical appearances and how they match. And are there going to be rivalries between a big guy and a little guy, or is it going to be the case that you're going to incorporate lots of combiners or titans and all those elements? And then what about the non-transforming characters? How do they play a part in the whole series? Are you going to have things like humans and quintessons, or are you going to have totally different alien races or something else? So all of this makes me ask, has anybody else considered this? Has anybody else written their own series script, written their own character development, written their own show in general? If you have, hit us up and let us know what you've done. It'd be really interesting to see. Anywho, for another week, this has been Rohan. Back to the studio.
Hey boys, we've been rumbled. Well, let's bounce.